Cookie jar.
Well, the question was posed of what the word cookie means, and of course it is a term for advanced electronics. And I was thinking of Ben Bernanke in that regard, that the question of who stole the cookie could be reformulated. If a man has stolen everything, or the monetary equivalent of the entire gross national product, couldn't we think of him as having stolen the cookies? And if not, he has the virtual cookie in his hand, right? And we have to understand then the nature of the theft that we're living with and will continue to live with. Now, Mr. Lloyd Blankfein, as head of Goldman Sachs, I think made the decisive remark that we're doing God's work. He didn't explain what God or what organ of the God we're living under God, but still somehow he was creating a kind of theological understanding. And I, as I'm trying to reformulate my new career as a theologian for the Fox News network, I'm trying to formulate the proper theological understanding of capitalism now. So what one, I think, as a big bookie, as we all are, might say is that Mr. Blankfein didn't reveal to us what God he had in mind, but we can plug in Zeus, I think. Dios tetelei tabule, at the beginning of the Iliad. The will of Zeus was accomplished, but Homer never tells us what it was. But in the previous poem, the Cypria, we were told that Zeus, with a subtle ecological sense of things, realized that there are just too many people. What do you do when you have too many people? Well, the Trojan War, right? Have everybody out there fighting over absolutely nothing at all, over a phantom Helen who disappears at the right moment. So Lloyd Blankfein, with his deep understanding of the exigencies of modern life, realized and expressed the need to accomplish the will of God. And, of course, we big bookies can bring a lot to bear. We know a lot about gods. Today, I guess we had Dionysus here, perhaps, with some of his accomplishments. Remember how he posed himself in the Bacchae as, to mortals, the most gentle Ipiotatos. He's the gentlest God. But Entele, when he's in his function, he's Deinotatos. He is the most fearsome God. So we can bring the kind of understanding of gods to bear that would enable us to put into perspective Mr. Blankfein's perspectives. And I think we might ask ourselves, what is the real functional God in Mr. Blankfein's world? What is this invisible realm of relationships that defines the possibilities of human beings, that governs their possibilities? Some call it Zeus, others call it the world market, some call it capital itself. And if we can understand how capital can move through every human relation and cut it up, can pit anything against anything, can pit any generation against any generation, that the kind of awesome power of capital bundling up all human alienation into one gigantic fist, we can understand the Blankfeins and bring to an understanding of the perspectives they offer, perhaps even a counter perspective. Now, my colleague offered remarks about Alex Branch's name, and I've, of course, been working with Alex, and it's struck me that he wasn't thinking of the right language, really. That is branch in Italian, but the malabranchi, you may remember from Dante. They're the claws, malacoda. All of these people staffing that circle of hell where the barrators, where the grafters are immersed in boiling pitch. So I would propose that Mr. Branch then rethink himself as Malabranche and dedicate himself to plunging the Lloyd blank finds into boiling pitch, keeping them there, and fishing them out if he can. But in general, that's the struggle that the big books reveals to us as a human possibility. Lloyd Blankfein's books, I don't know how many different kinds of books he has, one for SEC, one for, well, we know about that. So his books may be bigger than we can imagine, but we can unlock them and trundle them off to the septic tank of history, perhaps, as the occasion develops.